The reality of what we're seeing in the workplace and in higher education is that our New Mexican kids are not as well prepared. It is a huge disservice to take a child and put them through 12 plus years of school to enter the marketplace with this expectation that they will be able to effectively compete, only to find out that their lack of critical thinking, their lack of problem-solving skills, or perhaps their lower than average math or reading scores makes them non-competitive for that gainful employment.
Assessment in its intended form is an integral piece of teaching and learning. The major purpose is to identify gaps in learning, to make sure that we know where the gaps are in order to be able to build strength in those areas. When you have an association of standards and benchmarks, you want to make sure that you have information about a student's not only current standing within those standards and benchmarks, but also their previous history in order to maintain a trajectory toward success. PARCC is the Partnership for the Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers, and its aim is to both identify strengths in students' academic achievement, but then also identify opportunities for learning.
It is a solid way of understanding our transformative needs in education.
PARCC is a new assessment designed to address real-world needs and the skills that students will need to have when it comes to solving and critical thinking in order to better communicate and explain their approach to solving real-world problems.
There's multiple ways to solving problems, and I think PARCC allows that with their open-ended extension of the problems. They're allowed to go in and solve the problem how they learn to solve it.
The PARCC is aligned to the New Mexico standards, and that's a big plus. As a school, we look at it as a whole so that we know what the grade level goals are, what the standards are that we have to meet, and know where they need to be at the next grade level to meet those standards.
It helps with planning, to make specific individualized plans for students. If some students, say, are behind their peers in certain subject areas, instead of having to play catch up, there can be a stepwise process towards success throughout the career. It's really just trying to support success throughout a student's education.
When receiving the PARCC scores, I plan on looking at the weaknesses of my students as a group, focusing on where they are struggling in my day-to-day instruction, and individualize them. If there's a few students that are struggling on something specific, create a strategy group so that I can help them become at grade level within those standards.
Parents can expect to have a clearer picture of their students' progress when they receive the scores back.
Parents at home need to also practice with the students and make sure that the students are doing their part at home.
It's a new set of standards, a new set of expectations that we haven't measured before, and so you can imagine that you will see a drop in what appears to be student performance.
But if scores do drop, that doesn't necessarily mean that our students are less prepared than they've ever been. It simply means that we have changed the standard from which we're measuring college and career readiness.
We're going to be able to take action and go back and provide those opportunities in the classroom so that we can have an increase in our scores. We'll be better prepared to adjust our teaching, adjust the approaches that we're using with technology to increase our scores and to be back where we should be.
And what PARCC has done to us is challenged all of us in education to look more deeply at our process of education.
It's the 21st century. Our kids need those critical thinking skills. Our kids need technology.
There's a strong connection between the things that the PARCC test is assessing and the things that get assessed in the workplace.
We don't look at it as a test or an assessment. We look at it as an opportunity to see where our students are, where they're performing, and how we can better provide that quality education that every student deserves.